Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. So we are going to get right to it because I know there's lots of just distractions in your life. So let me turn this down. There we go. Okay. So let's take control, right? So there's so many distractions. Everybody wants our attention. So how do we also, take control where we can build our own beautiful life? There we go. Okay. So let's jump into it. Here we go. So, unfortunately or fortunately, so we know it's really helpful to know, right? So I think we can handle it. The whole point of this talk is I think we can handle the research and the facts and use them to build a beautiful life, right? So let's just stop living in the myths, and the facts show us that when we're distracted, we're unhappy. There's a wonderful book. I keep it right by my desk. It's called The Myths of Happiness by Dr. Lubomirsky. Um, Here you go. It's well worn, because she is a happiness researcher. So that's what she does for a living. And she said we have, bought into this myth of happiness. And what does she mean by that? When we are distracted, we don't feel happy. But yet we try to do a lot of things, right? We're busy leaders. We're looking, to add so much more to our day. How can we get this to this to this in no time? And we're toast, right? You're rock stars with a lot of skills, trying to do a lot of things. Deep breath. We're here to learn, right? But yet you are tired and you feel like toast. So who is this webinar for? Who is this masterclass for? It's for people who want to help others. You want to change your communities. You want to feel creative. You want to acknowledge that you have done a lot of things. You are a rock star. You're a leader. You are, running teams and supporting teams. And so many people are coming to you with personal stories of the difficult times they're going through. And you have to keep going and solving all the challenges and putting out fires. So how can you yourself, receive some guidance? And what does the literature suggest? What does the neuroscience foundational literature suggest to keep a leader being able to be effective at work and building a beautiful life? I don't think that we should have to choose one or the other, right? We want you to feel supported. Because you might feel scared. It's a lot of responsibility, right? You want to leave an impact and you want to feel valued yourself. You try to bring that to so many people on your teams, but you also want to feel valued. You're like this beautiful lotus flower in the yellow, matches my jacket today. But look how gorgeous that thing is that nature has built this beautiful flower. It's like unbelievable. Even the leaves are beautiful, floating in the water. But what are you floating in? And that's what we're going to talk about. What is the culture that we're all living in? So there are 10 common challenges that women leaders face and other leaders that are smart enough to listen, as Susie Orman says. So this is not only for women leaders, but that is what I know. So I will speak to that. But we will talk about the common challenges of leaders. We want to align with our values, our strengths, our purposes, but yet, there are those daily challenges that we all have to go through at work. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is bringing value to others, right? So I have built my own framework over the last 5 years through my own business, which is called Brain Fresh. I've supported busy leaders, women docs, different kind of leaders through this simple framework so we can all understand neuroscience-based tools to find and to feel empowered and to find focus, to find our motivation, to find where we can leave an impact. Because we all have our own unique, what we like to call connectome in the brain. Like, what are we good at? How are our nerves connected so that we're really good at what's our secret sauce of our gifts and our strengths? And I like to help to narrow that down, make it simple, make it clear. So that's not embarrassing when you're trying to look for skills and new strategies. You don't feel like I should know this stuff, right? So I want to help you learn how to use this framework to help you find joy, purpose, and meaning professionally. But we live and work in a culture, right? And the culture is like some of it is very clear, like the tip of the iceberg, the white part. This is shines 3 levels of organizational culture, a model. So at the top, it's the artifacts and behavior. So I'm in healthcare. The artifacts and behavior in healthcare are pretty clear, right? If you see somebody with a stethoscope, you see me with a white coat on some days, you're in the healthcare environment. You see people getting rolled around on a gurney, on a cart, maybe in a wheelchair, maybe IV poles, and you say, oh, that's a healthcare setting. But then what are the norms? What are the values in those settings? And what are even deeper? What are the assumptions and beliefs about our culture? What about you? Why don't you put it in the chat in your own culture? Now, what would you say are assumptions and beliefs? Because this is the hard part to really nail down, because it's not always spoken. Their assumption, we're assuming things are to be this certain way. And we're all told, to stay agile and keep flexible and stay creative in the workplace. But sometimes these assumptions and beliefs keep us in a certain pattern, a work pattern, and it keeps us from being the most creative. So that is the deep culture that's sometimes hard to put your finger on, right? Because it's not always said verbally, but maybe your actions show it. My mom had a saying said, your actions speak louder than words. So watching someone, watching a team, watching a workplace, what are the assumptions and the beliefs of this particular culture. So I like to think of it again, those beautiful lotus flowers. There we are. We're the pink, beautiful flowers staying above the water. The culture is what we grow in, is the muddy water there. And we can't see everything, right? So like we said, that organizational culture, there are deep settings in it. And that water is full of good nutrients. It's full of things that have decayed. So lessons we've learned over the years, if we want to use that analogy, and we grow from them, right? Hopefully we're flourishing, we're growing. But what is it like in healthcare today when you ask women in medicine? I'm a neurologist, so we'll start with that there's, almost half are burned out, saying they don't have time to do their work. It's a stressful environment. They don't have a lot of control over their days, and they're reporting, gender discrimination regularly. But yet they're doing amazing work. So more beautiful images there. Again, the bright yellow, like my jacket. They're sticking to guidelines. They're speaking with the patients. They're doing preventative care, which saves everybody a lot of money, including the lives, and counseling, including the patients. Improves quality of life. It improves that patient-centered communication. Patients themselves feel more valued. It's a partnership building style. So the gender of the physician has shown that it's related to very positive outcomes. So is this like you, that you can remember when you first got your job, that you had that overwhelming joy? You were like, oh, did it. I hit this. You're a new leader. You did it. You have a team now to manage. And now you're thinking like, how am I going to get through this day? And we have to remember, again, back to this book, Dr. Lear Bermirsky. She reminds us that we get acclimated to things. So things that were very special to us at first, we get used to them. So they're not as special. They don't bring us the same level of happiness. So that is just a human condition, that we get used to things. And that's why a lot of times, one of the reasons that we hear that we should practice gratitude, just remember what we're grateful for, our health, our supportive colleagues, a safe environment, those kind of things. So a lot of times we hope for more and we feel stuck. And there's tools, there's a framework that we can use to make this really clear. Work can be exhausting. And in healthcare, we carry a risk of burnout. And for women docs, there's a 4-time risk of suicide for women docs. But we need to work and support our families and help our communities. So how do we find this middle road where we can work and leave an impact, but also, be safe ourselves and have good health ourselves? Well, some people have decided that a side hustle is their answer. They start another company. It helps them, feel creative. It helps them meet new people. That has helped me. I've built a business called Brain Fresh. For the last 5 years, I've been learning and growing and meeting new people through that, and it has been exciting. Of course, it's not the only answer. Unfortunately, our legal colleagues, this is a great book called Fair Shake, but our legal colleagues show us kind of the status quo right now. And it says why, women are kind of not advancing, kind of stuck in this gender wage gap. It's just stalled. And opportunities, gender-based opportunities in the workplace are also stalled. And their book clearly goes through, from a legal perspective, why that may be happening. So I highly recommend the book. It's very interesting, hard to get through because it is showing the reality of cases that have come forward. And when people try to do the right thing, a lot of times it falls back on the women when they are the whistleblowers, et cetera. There is retaliation, even though most companies have, strict rules against no retaliation. In medicine, there's a lot of burnout. How long have they been talking about burnout in medicine? What do you think? What's your guess? Before I was born? What do you think? close to it. It was 1974. That's a long time. Okay. So this stuff has been around a long time. Um, it's not a new problem. So why are we still talking about it, trying to figure out how to navigate this? The problem is people are overwhelmed, they're confused. We don't have time for family and friends. There's no confidence that we're able to focus on what really matters to us. We feel like we have to jump on someone else's priorities. We're not even sure what our current priorities are. We feel like we're floundering sometimes. So that's why I like to build a clear framework. Just get right on a strategy. I love a good strategy so we don't waste our time or energy. And I haven't learned this until I dug into the research, but work helps us feel important and useful. Work can have very positive and or negative effects on our brain tissue itself, the organ between our ears. So there's some studies looking at white collar workers who are problem solvers, and what area of the brain is more, what pathways of the brain are more powerful, compared to someone has a more physical job. And so there are different brain patterns or brain strengths according to our jobs. So our jobs over all these decades that we work, right? I mean, they could do positive things for us, of course, help us support our families, help us support our communities. Um, but do we also learn that when we want to learn something new, we have to give our brain extra support? So there's a lot of research as well showing, our that organ between our ears is busy doing a lot of things. It's managing all our organ systems, and it doesn't have time for a lot of learning, but yet work is a lot of learning. So why do we tend to do less, like less sleep, less nutrition, less movement when we're busy with work, when it should be the opposite? So I think some of these myths just need to be busted, and we just need to see the light of day of what the truth is, what we need to be doing so we can be like these beautiful flowers growing in our cultures and, bringing, photosynthesis to the world, right? So we do need to drive our own professional growth, and we do need to also follow the science that says it's a myth to think we can just work, 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 work. And it may be why a lot of us feel stuck or confused or disorganized or frustrated because we're just not following, the light of day when it comes to the neuroscience teachings about our brain and work. So once we know this, we can feel empowered and creative and informed and enthusiastic and brave and courageous and valued. Doesn't that sound good? Which one's your favorite word? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Which one's your favorite? Getting a mix. All right. Well, here are my thoughts. I I think we ought to be able to build a beautiful life and have meaningful work. And it can be intimidating or embarrassing to have to look up complicated well-being plans or growth strategies as a leader. Like somehow you're supposed to know everything and to know all the burnout, reduction strategies and how to navigate this high suicide risk in medicine and other professions. I'm not sure if they have that, but healthcare has that. And so leaders in all industries were trying to navigate, but it doesn't feel good to be the newbie also, to be out there asking people for help. We're supposed to know things as the leader, right? And so that vulnerability, which is so important, if you listen to, Brene Brown or Simon Sinek, they talk a lot about vulnerability, being true and honest with other people, but in the right place at the right time and not walking around thinking we know everything, and to the right people in the right time to share our vulnerability, and even with our team to share something that didn't go well, because that vulnerability and how you handled it, if you had a challenge that didn't go well and how you handled it, it builds trust because they see, oh, you are human, you have navigated things that have been hard. This is me. I have 4 kids and a husband, and I'm a business coach and a business owner, and I love to support people with resources, neuroscience resources, so that people can flourish and shine. So I love to share neuroscience resources to help busy leaders shine and focus on what's really important to them so they can feel motivated to leave an impact in their communities. More about me, real quick, but more about you. So, what are the challenges we see, especially for women leaders, all leaders right now? I want for you to feel empowered and creative because there's a lot of problems to solve in our communities. And the more you understand and know how to navigate neuroscience strategies, the more empowered and creative you will be. And we are contagious in our actions towards our teams. And so the more we learn new strategies ourselves, we can bring them to our teams as well. So the main, challenges of leaders out there, there are gender inequities, there's limited training, there's that balancing act between work and home, and then there's these cultural messages like we've been talking about to tell different genders, different races, different levels in the workplace of what to do. So there's those assumptions and belief as well that are driving the culture. So busy leaders, especially busy women leaders, these top 10 challenges, here they are, everybody. So there are gender disparities in opportunities. There's a lack of neuroscience strategies that are taught regularly to new leaders or developing leaders. There are time constraints. We all only have so much time in our day. There's uneven home and even a lot of times work responsibilities. There's financial challenges, there's finance challenges. So if you're trying to build a business, trying to get some resources to build or help your business grow, there's gender inequities in that area as well. Lack of mentorship in building in building your business. A lot of times if we look ahead, there's a certain gender that's ahead of us in building businesses. So we have to go out and find people that look like us, or not, that can help us, mentor us, or sponsor us so that we can keep moving forward as well. A lot of us are waiting to be tapped on the shoulder, to be chosen at work, to be the leader. We can lead without a title. We can lead in our areas where we work. I think people that we can call lead. We can call many people leaders that don't have a stamp title, that are making a difference in their cultures and their communities of where they work. And there is a cultural message, and that's we all hear this. It's the reverse of what we need to do for our neuroscience optimization, is that we're taught to grind. You just keep working, and then maybe, once you're retired, then you can exercise and take care of yourself and sleep. It is not our creative setting. It is not our great thinking time when we are just wearing ourselves out, right? There's also gender inequities in innovation. So in your industry, at least in my industry in healthcare, if I go to an innovation meeting, it's a lot of men in business suits and maybe a sprinkle of women. And so we're, slowly trying to change that, but we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunities to bring their good ideas forward. And there are societal expectations that women are quieter. We all have biases in many different ways. That's just when our brain sees data, and we have decided that men are leaders and women are not so much. Leaders as often as men are. That is what we see. So that is our bias toward that. So we have to take a pause and sometimes challenge our own first impressions and make sure that we're not just relying on some of our own biases, that we're aware of them. And there are ways to assess what is our strong bias, because we all have them. So who's ready for the 9-step neuroscience framework for busy leaders? I like to call it brain vitality. Vitality is when we're living and growing. And that's when we feel vital. And vital is a great word. It means that we're changing, we're moving forward, we're not stuck in the mud. We're growing like those beautiful flowers. So I love to help you rock it and live it and own it, and to feel empowered and creative again, because there's so many challenges in this world. If everyone understood how to navigate their neuroscience with some tips and strategies, simple ones, actionable ones, then you can live in the solution, right? So believe it or not, finding fun is the first one. Why? Because it's a great neurologic state. It's a no judgment state. It's a high perception state. It's usually positive energy state, positive emotional state. So it has a lot of good neurologic features to it. We like to protect our melon, if we want to call what's between our ears our melon. We want to protect it from distractions. Because there's so many distractions. There is an attention economy out there. People want our attention, and we need to put a block on things that are not important to us, right? We need to learn how to fine tune our energy in a neuroscience way throughout our workday. And we talk about that. And I've given, different courses called Recharge to professional women. We've focused on these 3 things, where we learn what we can do throughout our workday and even after our workday to recharge in a neurologic sense so that we can focus. We are in our creative state, and that, of course, will then be contagious to our teams. And then if we want to align with our neural power, so everybody has their own special gifts and strengths, and we want to learn how to align with them, right? So we want to have guardrails like what are our powers and live within our powers. So we need to take some time to learn our strengths. So we do that within Brain Fresh, and we will do that in our new membership that's opening in 2025. And it's actually special open right now towards the end of 24. But it's for busy leaders who want to be really intentional with their time and energy, like I do these days. Once you hit 50, at least once I did, then I'm like, I'm not wasting time on anything that's not important to me. I'm going to just be really intentional with my time and my energy. Because, you see a beginning and an end to things when you hit certain ages. So it's good to align with your powers and to know your strengths so that you can even strengthen them and live in the strengths. We have more positive emotions when we're working in our strengths. When we're always trying to build new skills, things that we're not good at, it's harder, it's more challenging. But if we know what we're good at, we want to build those. So those we do as well. And Brain Savvy, that's our monthly membership for leaders with just, very intentional resources throughout the month. It's like a Stitch Fitch for leaders every month. So you get like a package of information to take with you on your busy days so that you can keep building your neuroscience strategies for your leadership development. We all hear about psychological safety. It's really important to believe in the power of belonging. It is what every human wants. We want to belong. It's very important to us. We tend to talk about cavemen and women at this point. I'm not going to talk about them. I think we should talk about today. But it's really important that you feel a common bond with your team. You don't have to be best friends, but a trust, an ability to feel like what you say will be heard and valued. And if not, you will not be working at your highest level. We have three other things that we also focus in on the Brain Savvy membership, but we're going to have to hold those. We don't have enough time to learn and to focus on all 9 points of the framework. But here they are. So let's say, so I like to call it priming, aligning, and designing, your daily actions and your focus. So we're intentional so we can feel empowered and creative. So let's say, which one are you a red on? So red is like, I don't do it very much. I don't know. It's hard for me. I just haven't put any time into it. I'm not good at it. And you might say, like, "Ugh, I'm just not prioritizing fun. I'm just working all the time. It's just what I have to do today." And you might get a red light at that. So most of the people I work with are red on finding fun. So we have to intentionally work on that. That is part of our Brain Savvy membership. We like to call that recharge. So we make sure we have our recharge time. How about protect your melon from distractions? Like at work, I know there's 12 ways for people to get to me through my workday. So between my phones, there's ways on EMRs people get to me, there's emails, there's the door, there's, so many ways that people can get to me. I counted them, 12 ways. And that's when I'm hopefully focusing, getting my work done with whether it be with my patient or whatever I'm working on at that time. So lots of distractions in the workforce these days. That's not even counting social media. So I'm, not on social media during my workday. But if you are, that's extra distractions from your workday. And so we have to protect our attention. We only have so much. And we talked about the fact that the brain is managing the whole body, all the organ systems. So if we also want to work, we also want to learn something new at work, we have to give ourselves more support. So that's part of protecting your melon. We do that within the Brain Savvy membership. And then fine-tuning your energy is very interesting, that there are very clear tools that we can use. So most of the people in Brain Fresh community are red on this one. They just don't know how to kind of recharge throughout the workday for our energy through our neuroscience strategies. And we go through that in detail. So why does this matter? So why does finding your fun matter? So when we're priming our brain, why does it matter? Because we feel stuck. We have busy days. We could lose our focus, lose our control of the day. If our emotions are mostly negative, it's not a creative way. We have all kind of emotions through our workday. We have negative, positive, negative, positive. If there's the research suggests if we can get 3 to 1 positive to negative in our workday, and again, if we know what to do, we can do it, right? So we just have to be intentional with our time. There are literal strategies that we will learn in Brain Savvy and how to push yourself into that 3 to 1 balance of positive to negative emotions, because positive emotions are contagious to our team, as well as they help us see new solutions. They help our creativity, our focus, our empowerment, which wouldn't it be great to be able to solve all those, fires that are going on throughout the workday? And so there are many books looking at this as well. There's one called Positivity. There's one called The Power of Fun. So it's important. There's a lot of research towards this, and we share that in the Brain Savvy. Okay. What about Protect Your Melon? Most people read in my programs on this one because there's so many open doors and windows. It's like your house. If you open all your doors and windows and you're like, what's wrong? I don't know why I can't get anything done in here because all your neighbors are coming in and people, strangers are just walking through. That would not be our best productivity time, right? So we want to protect our attention, protect our energy to decrease our risk of burnout. We want to feel creative and fortified. Otherwise, we are scattered, unfocused, distracted, and unhappy, like our book shows us. What about fine-tuning your energy? Again, most people in my community are red. They don't have this. We have magical thinking that we can just power through our days, not take any of these times to reboot. And we really need to do this. And there's great literature that I will share in Brain Savvy. There's many like functional MRI studies, et cetera, show how important it is that we take time to fine-tune. Okay, so important stuff. Some of us are still pretty red on all these 9-step frameworks, right? So which one's your favorite? What do you think? Do you like to prime the brain, get it ready, get it re-optimized throughout the day? Do you like to align with your strengths and your teams? Or do you like to design, take some action steps? What do you think? I like them all, of course, because I love neuroscience. So again, there's that picture again of the culture, those hidden, deep, deep, deep part of the culture that our assumptions and belief are not always spoken. So today we've learned some insights into culture, what could be driving our ideas, our behaviors, our limitations, things that we didn't even realize were limiting our thoughts or creativity at work. We've learned, some brain wonder that can help guide us when we work in high-risk professions. We've learned the common top 10 challenges that we face. We learned, that a lot of our colleagues are in emotional distress and it's contagious. So we have to do things to stay fortified because the workplace right now is full of a lot of emotions and a lot of them are negative and they are contagious towards us as well. There is a clear neuroscience framework. There's no myth here. And there are actionable strategies that we can take. And we've done this. I've done this for the last 5 years with my clients in Brain Fresh. And that's why I'm building this, our new membership called Brain Savvy. So you have tools each month, so that you could keep growing and just feeling, just confident, secure, clear on what next steps to take, not embarrassed, not like you're floundering. Okay, so there are solutions to help us find purpose and meaning professionally. We don't have to wait for someone else to figure it out for us. We can figure it out. And we can stop waiting to be chosen or tapped on the shoulders. You're the next leader that gets this, leadership development. We can drive our own professional development and we can rock it, right? So again, you can be just like that beautiful flower floating in the water. You can get the results you desire. You can learn how to have brain wonder. You can learn how to prime your brain, how to align with your strengths and your team, how to design your next steps to have impact in your community. So you have a choice. I mean, you can leave things the same, or you could change, you can learn something new because brains love that. You just have to support them through that. Or you can maintain the status quo. This QR code here shows a lot of, what Brain Fresh offers, a little bit more about me in case you're interested. What if we just knew, we just looked ahead and we knew we were headed because we knew how to prime, align, and design with your unique neural powers? What would that feel like? You knew how to navigate and you could pause and take a break. You knew where you were headed. The amazing news is that adults can still learn, especially if what we're learning has meaning to us and we know we can have an impact in our community. That grabs our attention for a longer time. So there's a couple articles and manuscripts I've listed here that when we have this really excitement when we have new change, we think like, oh, this can be great, but then we fall off the cliff if it doesn't mean anything to us. When it does, we can have sustained improvement in adults. So a lot of these studies, people are 55 years older, 45 to 55. So these are folks in their MBA, and look like who stuck with their projects. Well, if it had meaning and impact in their communities, they stuck with it. So that is definitely part of our framework at Brain Fresh because, we need to learn what grabs the brain's attention, right? So, what can we do? How can I help? I would love to just guide you and share these resources with you. Why do I do this? I've been a Girl Scout leader to 3 troops. That's why I have that picture up there because I really believe in the human spirit. I believe in strategies to learn about your neuroscience so you can, make your communities even stronger, brighter, supported. There's a lot going on right now, with new government changes here in the US. And I want to help. I know that there's strategies that can help us all have more clarity, more focus, how to find our motivation so we can leave an impact in our community. And that's what I focus on, just a simple 9-step framework, neuroscience based for busy leaders. Believe it or not, I have a coupon right now. If you put turkey in, you can get Brain Savvy. That's the QR code right up there, for 50% off, but not for long, for like a week. So I hate to even say it out loud because that's a huge hit. But go ahead and join me early and you'll maintain that price, the half off price, as long as you're in the membership. So that'll be fun. If you want to use these other ones, you can, but you could use the 50% off today. And for the holiday season, it ends November 30th. Okay, so what is this membership? Here, I'm going to move this down so I don't block the QR code. If you feel like life is flying by and you're a leader and you're rocking it, but you're just like, I'm not sure what my focus is. How do I even find peace of mind? If you feel like you're floundering, but you want to feel savvy, like you're purpose driven, you know exactly why you're putting your time and energy toward various projects. You feel like you're wasting your energy on distractions, but you want to feel calm and purposeful. You feel confused or embarrassed that you're looking for new tools, but you want to feel competent and like you're planning in a smart sense. You're waiting for someone to clarify your next moves, but you want to really focus on your values and your purpose. And you're waiting to feel more informed about what next steps to take. And you want to go from scared to courageous action taker. That's what we do in Brain Savvy. We share resources. I love sharing resources. It's my favorite thing. And so, it's a monthly membership. It has podcast based lessons and discussions. It has, group coaching. It has a master class. So I teach some neuroscience based leadership strategies every month. Um, and it's all part of the membership. So once you're in the membership, you get it all. And then, if you really want one-to-one, we can do that as well. But this is for, group support, because having a community of people that are very supportive and believe in this, that believe in the power of vitality, because I sure do. So check it out. Check out the QR code. If you use the coupon turkey, it's 50% off just this week. And what do I promise through Brain Savvy? I promise a lot of things. I promise to share insights with you. I promise to give you clear resources. I promise to have a kind, supportive, fun community. I don't personally like to, especially at my age, to be in environments that aren't fun, enjoyable, positive if I can help it. I mean, I know work is hard at some point, but this kind of thing, why not make it fun and enjoyable? We're going to have weekly plans, neuroscience based. We're going to make it clear and learn how to get rid of distractions because we learned from the beginning, right? That distractions lead to unhappiness. So we're all trying to do a million things, but what if we figure out like what is important to us right now and just live toward that? I've been hosting accountability groups for the last few months for women docs. So I'm going to open it to this group as well. So that'll be part of this membership where we have accountability groups because all the literature suggests it's really important if you're trying to make a change that you have kind, supportive, compassionate people with you, to give you advice and support and resources during your growth period, your vital period. So that's what we're going to do through this membership because we know it's not going to happen in 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 weeks. It's a membership, so it's long-term support that you can keep growing and sharing resources. And I love finding the resources, kind of explaining the neuroscience of it, and how to make it actionable. So you have takeaways, just action steps for the week. Okay. So next steps, if you're looking for a simple framework that is research-based, neuroscience-based, And you want to find your unique journey to find focus, motivation to leave an impact in your community and build that beautiful life that you were hoping to have. That's what this is all about, Brain Savvy membership. Again, you got that turkey coupon, 50% off turkey, Turkey. You'll see if you hit this QR code and go to that link, and there's a video explaining the membership. And then if you hit, tell me more, there's another video and you can join right there. If you're like, well, I'm not sure, I just want to get on the wait list, you can go there too and get on the wait list. And once it fills, it fills. I don't like it to be a huge community, just a reasonable number. So get in there and get on the wait list, at least, so that I know that you're interested, and I'll let you know when we're getting full. Thanks for your attention. All the best. Thanks for all that you do out there. And know that there is a neuroscience-based simple framework waiting for you to jump into. And I'd love to work with you. All right. All the best.